Welcome, everybody. I have such a special Thriver TV show today, and it's a Valentine's special. Actually, I'm not sure whether we're putting it on Thriver TV or not, but it really doesn't matter because this is so amazing. I have a beautiful lady here. Her name is Blair, and she's from Virginia Beach in Virginia. And she wrote into us sharing an incredible story and a beautiful inspiration about creating Thriver vows for her upcoming wedding. And this was the first time anybody had ever done this. So we desperately wanted to connect with you, Blair, and talk to you about this. And your story is amazing. It's a Thriver story. And you agreed to come on with me and have a chat about this. And there's so many parts to this, I don't even know where to start. But what I would really just like to start with, Blair, is you're going to be marrying a beautiful man. We know that. And we're going to get into that because it's gorgeous. But let's just go back into, where did this love journey start for you? What happened once upon a time when it wasn't so beautiful, Blair?
I guess from, as early as childhood, I had a very tumultuous, upbringing. And, I, through, watching your videos in the NARC program, I learned that I didn't learn to value and love myself and self-partner and, teach myself how to take care of myself. So I got pregnant at 17 and had my son very young, and his father was never involved. I raised him on my own.
That's big. That's really big.
Yeah. And then somewhere along the way, I got custody of my nephew. So I have my bonus child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I always took care of everybody else and never myself. And
yeah, that's a typical thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would be in a relationship for usually very short amounts of time because part of me knew that it was unhealthy, but the other part didn't believe I deserved anything better. So I, was in a physically abusive relationship. Can't even remember, about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And that only lasted 2 years, but I can remember the feelings of he's going to kill me if I don't walk away. And one day my son came up on the couch while he's screaming and yelling at me and threatening to hit me. And my son just lays his body across my body and says, "Don't touch my mom." And I was like, oh my God, I'm destroying my child. I have to get out of this. And so I feel like I left for him, not for me. But after that, I spent a long time single, not dating anybody. I shut the world out. I had gained a lot of weight. I was just hiding, thinking I was doing it on my own, but I was really just trying to push the world away. And, I was taking care of my son and raising him. The bonus child wasn't quite there yet because he was still with my sister. But, at some point I decided that, okay, I'm tired of being alone. I want to, to fix myself in order to get in a relationship. And I knew that I had to do something to, really start learning to love myself. So I can remember, and I still use this mantra today. I say, when I'm feeling insecure, I'll say, "You're strong, you're beautiful, you're confident. You're strong, you're beautiful, you're confident." I just repeat it over and over again until, I'm not so scared anymore.
What a lovely takeaway, Blair. Thank you for sharing that with people. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I sometimes I even wake up still to this day, like, how you have those dreams where you just wake up, not quite so even keeled, and I'll just in my head wake up to that mantra.
Gorgeous.
And, just say it over and over again.
Beautiful.
And, so I use the mantra and just learning to love myself. I would take myself out on dates and, do all these things, but I still wasn't facing myself. And
and I remember in your story that I read that, you lost a lot of weight, you felt, really physically the best you'd felt. And I think
I had lost 70 pounds.
Gosh, that's what an accomplishment. That is incredible. But I think what happens, Blair, is that, sometimes in the reinventing of ourselves for love, we can do all of that stuff and look great and lose weight and all of that stuff. And we even feel good and confident, but there can be a but with that, can't there? And I think, if you go forward with your story, and we'll check that out.
Yeah, I think the but was that I like to think of it as like a Band-Aid. I was putting a Band-Aid on the wound. And, sometimes Band-Aids are important. They help us heal. They help protect the wound. So I kind of feel like the Band-Aid served its purpose of letting me heal. But because I wasn't addressing the wound, I still was putting myself in jeopardy. And once I went out there and I started dating, and I went on the dating sites and did all that, and I met a covert narcissist. And when I met him,
and they can be tricky. It can be tricky.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like even now, and after I learned, and I think the first video I ever saw of yours was the I can't remember the title of it, but it was the video about how to get back at a narcissist. And it was the wordplay was tricky. It wasn't, that's not right. What the message was.
No, it wasn't, but it did get a lot of people to actually get to the real message.
Exactly. And I listened to it over and over and over again. And it helped me a lot, because I was at that point where after the relationship ended and, I was being discarded, I wanted to scream to the top of my lungs to anybody that would hear that he's this monster, but because he's a covert, nobody saw it. And so some of those videos early on from you, I realized that if I start screaming this, I'm going to sound like the crazy one. I'm going to sound like the one who, doesn't have it together. And so I very early on realized that I had to, vent to the people that I trusted, and, and not just spread it to the world, because he's still friends of friends. Every once in a blue moon, I still run into him and, his new wife. And so I had to be very careful not to try to justify it to everybody else, to make them see what happened to me and make them believe it. And I kind of skipped to the end on that, huh?
That's okay. That's totally okay. So after that, because you thought, I'm looking great, I'm feeling good, I'm doing self-love. I remember that before narcissist number 1 in my life, and even narcissist number 2, both times I thought, I'm so sorted. Okay, so it ended. Yeah. And then how did you feel? What happened then?
I remember being triggered by any little thing. I had a parking ticket that was like a $3 parking ticket that I let go into collections because I couldn't even manage my life. And ended up being like a $75 fine because I just couldn't focus on anything.
It would be a $75 one that would turn into $500. I just thought I'd tell you.
Oh, wow. It wasn't a parking ticket. It was a toll.
Oh, okay. So, even meters. That's what happens.
Oh, really?
It's really bad. Yes. Oh. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So you were getting triggered horrifically. What did you realize at that point, or what was the next kind of step?
So I, through the NARC program, realized that I had to go within to figure out what was triggering, to find the faulty belief that was making me, react to these things. And, I think this is I would imagine common for a lot of people, but mine was always that I'm not good enough, that, as a child, I was bounced around from house to house, between my mom and my dad and my grandparents. Like, I never lived in the same house for more than 2 years of my life. So I never felt like I was good enough for anybody in my family. I had to be this perfect person, put on the pretty smile and, make sure everybody's happy. And, so I never felt worthy. I never felt intelligent.
It would be so hard to feel like you belong.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I'm dyslexic. So reading is very difficult at a young age when you're dyslexic. So it makes you feel really stupid.
Okay.
And so even though dyslexic people have great vocabulary, great but in the early ages, it's really hard to learn how to read. So, I felt stupid at a very young age, and, I always felt like I had to prove my worth to everybody that was ever around me. And, I think I'm very charismatic, but I always put on that charismatic mask for everybody, to make them love me, make them see how cool I am, look how sweet I am. And, so
honest, so honest. So when you unraveled all of that, you got to the bottom of it.
I did. And I learned that, when the panic arose and I was feeling like I was going to spiral, that I just had to figure out what faulty belief was being triggered so that I could go to it and heal it. And one of your videos, I remember it was a video or part of the NARP or something, but it was a visualization of releasing the negative energy out of the top of my head. So I would bring it inside of me and then feel it and then release it, almost like it was this energy just coming right out of me. And so I would, just take a couple deep breaths, realize that this wasn't real. This wasn't reality. This was my faulty belief that I had to get rid of. And the more I did it, the more I practiced, the more it just kept releasing. And, there were a couple times when situations arose with other people, not the narcissist, but people that he knew, because he's still very much a part of my circle of friends. But ironically, I hardly ever run into him anymore. But, he's still on the outskirts. But in the beginning, we first broke up, somebody would say something, and I would have to, all right, how am I going to handle this? I've got to, make sure that I'm solid and centered before I react inappropriately with this other person that has nothing to do with what the narcissist did to me. So, I constantly was being tested, I guess. I don't know if tested is the right word, but it was a lot more often at that point.
And that's so true, Blair. When we're recovering and we're coming out of narcissistic abuse, it's not just going to be the narcissist, it's everything that it's around it. Because there's been such a breakdown within ourselves and our life. There's so many cracks, so many triggers, so many things that happen. And if we do have the ability to have that tool to be able to pick up the trauma and keep releasing and keep bringing in source and just getting stronger and more solid, and it brings that mindfulness, as you were saying, you're able to kind of so much more easily be the observer and say, okay, well, this is this. This is this thing I'm working on at the moment that's actually showing up as a co-generative force to help me heal it.
Yeah. And there were times when I saw it while it was happening. I was like, I know this is happening because I'm being tested. So what can I do to be the best me to resolve this issue? And it was very uplifting. Like it gave me power. Instead of the world happening to me, I was able to happen for the world. And
I love that. You've just given me goosebumps. Yes, I was having goosebumps when I was reading your story, because some of the profound wisdom that you have written in it is and when this comes out, I think it's around the same time your Thriver story comes out, which you'll be able to check out my Facebook page. You'll be able to see Blair's story. I can always tell, Blair, when somebody has let go of a lot of trauma and false beliefs when they've unpacked, because that wisdom just starts shining through. And that's definitely apparent with you. and you know, I love this because for all of us, we're not here to learn to be different. We already are a true self. We're not here to learn new beliefs. We're primarily here to unpack and let go of all the false, untrue beliefs and traumas. And then we just emerge as this wise person who knows how to make their life work and love work, which is what I'm so excited to talk to you about, because I love this whole love journey. You know, I was a previous love disaster zone. Totally. And I have a beautiful, incredible relationship that's, you know, so gorgeous now, such a thriver relationship, mutual respect and love. So you dated this man very differently than the other people that you dated in the past. Would you like to share what that was about, Blair?
Yeah.
And how did you meet? I don't think I know that bit. How did you meet?
So we both run races, and
wow.
We met. Oh, and by the way, at the wedding, we're going to have a wedding run. So we're going to run. So the run that we met, we're going to do the day of the wedding, and then we'll have the actual ceremony that night. So
you're
I'm
going
really
to
excited
run.
about that.
You're going to. Well, it doesn't matter if your makeup gets all sweaty then.
Oh, I don't wear makeup when I run, but I'm going to run in the morning.
Because I was thinking, oh no, I hope you're not running in your wedding dress or something.
Oh, no. But I do have a white tutu and a white baseball cap that says bride, and he has a baseball cap that says groom. And I think I'm going to make him wear a black tutu. I haven't figured that out yet.
Perfect. I love it. We need to film this and we will share this on Thriver TV. I'm sure everyone else would love to see that.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be people. Oh, and a friend of ours that runs, he dresses up as Elvis all the time. So we're going to have Elvis marry us at the wedding run. And then, so that's in the morning. The actual wedding is at 6:00 at night. So then I'll have time to go get ready and get cute and everything. So.
Oh, beautiful. Perfect.
But okay, sorry, we digress.
No, I'm glad you said that. That's awesome.
So we met at this run, a local race called Biffledink, where you run a 5K on the hour every hour for 3 hours. So if it takes you a half an hour to run, you have a half an hour to hang out until you run again. And because you have that break in between, there's a social aspect that comes to it, where you're hanging out with the other people waiting for that next block of running to start. Right. So I had friends that invited me, and then he had a friend that invited him, and we all kind of hung out together. And by the end of it, I asked the other friend, I was like, what's his story? I think I could go there. And, you know, I tell everybody that, everybody chuckles that, because those were my exact words. I think I could go there. So,
sure enough, you did.
I know, right? And then ironically, we were already friends on Facebook, just because of the running community.
Right.
We knew this, but we didn't know each other. We just happened to be Facebook friends. And I was going on a trip. I had another friend of mine, him and his wife are British, and they work at NATO, and so they get lots of airway miles and everything. And when I was going through my the whole process, they gifted me with letting them use their airway miles and go to Wales with them. So this was like 2 weeks after him and I met. So the whole time I'm overseas, he's calling me or checking in on me, and, you know, just, hey, how's it going? And strictly platonic, and, you know, just trying to get to know me. And, you know,
so you guys did that for months. You were like platonic friends. I was with my partner too. It's such a beautiful way to date.
And I never, it was so easy. Everything in the past had been so hard, and you know, I was panicked and like, oh my God, does he like me? Should I call? Should I do this? What should I do? How should I act? Like all those manic, but it was never like that with him. I never felt like a pressure of whether or not he liked me. And if he didn't like me, I was okay. You know, I was, you know, I was interested, but I was okay. And, you know, so it was never trying to push, why hasn't he kissed me yet? Why hasn't he tried to do anything? Instead, it was just like, let's hang out together. Let's have fun. And, you know, it happened for me very slowly. And, you know, because of that, I felt safe with him because I was still very much healing. I was still being triggered very often when we first met. And so I don't think I would have gotten into a relationship had he not just been trying to get to know me.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise I would have been like, I'm not quite ready to date yet. But because he was nice and chill about it, we were able to really get to know each other.
And I love that. And there's another point there. You don't have to be perfectly healed to meet somebody. You know, you don't, but you do need to be taking responsibility for your triggers and healing them, rather than saying, oh my gosh, this person is going to be the savior of my triggers and I'm just going to jump straight in. You know, I have a very dear friend at the moment, and sadly she's done that. You know, she's jumped straight in, and there's a lot of stuff around this that's not looking healthy, you know, and I used to do it too. We all used to do it. But I love that when you take your time with somebody, you get to know the person as a friend, and you get to know their character and their values and who they are, rather than waking up next to somebody one morning and saying, I don't actually really like you as a human being.
Yep, I've been there.
Yes. Well, and with a narcissist, absolutely we do, because then we wake up and we say, you know, your values are really quite skewed. Your behavior is nasty. I don't like you as a person, but now I'm hooked and trapped and I'm in love with you.
Yeah, that's the cognitive
dissonance.
Yes, exactly. That where I know this is wrong, but I cannot escape, you know, that part.
Oh, yeah.
That was not fun.
And then we get stuck into the whole pattern of trying to fix them and change them and make them decent people, and don't let them go.
Yeah.
And we all know how that ends up.
Yeah. I invested so much time, you know, I can't give up now.
Of course. Yeah. And we've all been there, and our heart goes out to everybody out there who's struggling and dealing with this. You know, and I hope that, you know, Blair, that you can be an inspiration for people to let go and do enough work, and you're still doing the work.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things that it really made our relationship blossom is in the beginning, you know, again, while I was just getting to know each other, I started telling him about, you know, the narcissistic relationship, which is a person that he knew. He actually worked for a little while with the narcissist's new wife. So there was very much a tie. Yeah, it was. And, you know, she ended up leaving that company. She's gone somewhere else. So, you know, there's not that tie anymore, but we all knew each other. And so he's like, well, I got the creeps by him, but I don't really know why. And so he, you know, he's self-partnered enough that his radar was up against him, but he couldn't quite identify what it was.
Sure.
So as I told him the story and told him everything that I went through with the narcissist, he couldn't understand it. And, you know, he believed me because he trusted me.
Yes.
But it was just like,
good point.
I can't even tell you how many times it'd be like, I just can't believe that's real. It was like, and I used to tell him, it's like, you know, a Lifetime movie gone wrong.
It is. It's a bad novel. Nobody would believe it unless they've lived it.
Yeah. And so he's such a learner. He likes to learn. He likes to understand. One of his favorite phrases is, I'm just seeking to understand. That's like what he says all the time.
Beautiful.
When he wants an explanation of something. And
that's a real Stephen Covey kind of expression. I love that. You know, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yes, yeah. I'm seeking to understand. Wow. And, oh gosh, Blair, you know, this brings to mind with me, I see this happen all the time. I've seen it happen in my own life. When we do take that radical personal responsibility to get to those core wounds, yours was, I'm not good enough. You know, it's a big one for most of us. There's others, of course. But when we start healing those and we get off those fragile childhood and generational wounds, the people that actually come into our life are more naturally solid and healed just in their own skin than what we ever were.
And he that was an inspiration to me.
Yes.
He had actually,
like, we're not getting people more damaged representing those old wounds. We get people at a higher level that organically, even without doing that deep work on themselves, they're just more together than the people we used to get with.
And it's, in the moments of hearing you say that back in the day, I would be like, I don't know, even though I was watching it and I was sold and I was in it and I was like, I'm going to do this, but you still kind of have in the back of your head, I don't know if she's really right, but now that I've been through it and I see that I really do gravitate towards people that, have that solid core. And, even at work, when I was first healing, people would trigger me, and now those people, they're still there, but they tend to kind of go off on their own and do their own little thing, and they're just it's almost like we're two spears, not even, it is so true, but you don't always see it when it's happening. So for anybody watching this, it's real.
That's so good. It's so true, because everybody's a messenger bringing us the evidence of the composition of our inner being.
Yes, absolutely.
So when we're healing that, the evidence is, more healed people, more healed up people than I used to have around me. And, if we've missed those little corners, well, then those people are the ones that are going to show up and show us our little corners. So, and then we can leave those people alone and go, well, thank you. Okay, goodbye. I'm up to the next level, which is so beautiful that you are. And you were saying that here's really the two of you together. You're having that very conscious relationship whereby I love what you wrote, where you said that, if you're triggered into a childhood wound, he will actually say to you, is that your trigger speaking? Can you please go heal that? How beautiful.
Yeah, he's really good about that.
He'll give you
I'll
space.
be like, sometimes I'll say phrases like, I'm a little shaky right now, or, I'm feeling off, or, whatever phrase we have. And his response is, what do you think is triggering that? Like he knows that that's not me. So he's always trying to encourage me to get to the root of it and try to figure out what it is that is bringing this up. And sometimes I don't always know right away, and I'm like, I don't know, I can't quite figure it out. And then once I figure it out, I figured it out. And then he's really good at listening and hearing what it is. It's never boring to him, no matter how many times he has to hear it, or because we don't always learn the lessons the first time. Sometimes we got to be faced with it a couple times. And
totally.
So
I can almost hear so many women out saying, has he got a brother?
Nope, only a sister.
But you know what? This is the thing. People can, I used to do this too. We can go, oh my God, she got a good one. There's no good ones around here. All the good ones are gone. She got a good one. It's not that. It's like when you change, everything changes.
And because we were, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Because we talked about all that stuff, I would, when he was trying to understand everything that happened to me, I would send him videos of yours that really resonated with me, or something that, I couldn't quite articulate it, but you had articulated it very well. So I would say, this is what I'm feeling. Watch this video. And then he would watch it, and we would talk about it for hours. And, we would watch the videos together. He's watched just as many videos as I have, and he's never had a narcissist in his life, because he is has that more solid. But when we first met, he was 3 years out of a marriage, and she's a beautiful woman, and they get along great. It's kind of amazing. She's actually coming to the wedding.
That's lovely.
So I know, I'm really excited about that. So, but she just wasn't happy anymore, and she ended the marriage after 12 years, and it devastated him. He was really upset because he felt like it was a failure, like he did something wrong. What did I do that I couldn't keep this going? And so he had to really, discover himself and figure out, what his outlook on life was. And so as I shared, everything that I was going through to heal, he was able to use some of those principles for himself too, because all the things that you tell us aren't just for narcissists.
Oh gosh, it's for all of it.
And so
the narcissist is only the catalyst.
Yes. Because I'm a little stubborn, I needed to be, hit upside the head with a narcissist in order to get it. Yeah. So we would
You're like
watch.
napalm. We kind of needed napalm.
Yes, exactly. So we would watch the videos and, learn. And because of that, he knew the tools that I was using, where, when you were talking about other women saying, oh, that's not something, she got lucky or something like that. But because I was saying, this is what I do in my life, he was able to know how to help me to heal myself because of it. And so I kind of, I want to say taught, because it's not like I guess I taught him how to help me. And men and women, they all want to help you. People want to help each other. And so
that's right. When they're healthy and they have capacity, this is it. And I think there's such an important distinction here, because there's such a fine line between codependency, which this is not, and also people saying, well, if I'm self-generative and self-partnered, that means I don't need anybody. What you're talking about is healthy interdependence, whereby you're with somebody healthy with capacity, because, when we heal up enough, we're not going to tolerate people stepping on our boundaries and doing abusive things anymore. We're going to say, this is my line. You either meet it or there's the door. I'm done. Yeah. And we mean it. We will lose it all to get it all. So he's not one of those guys.
We've had that conversation too.
And I did with my partner too. Something very early on that came up, and it was a misunderstanding. I got triggered a little more, but I was able to calmly and clearly say, well, this is where I stand. And if this is not this, well, then we're going to end. And, he's a beautiful man. There's nothing sinister about him. But that was a necessary conversation. And I meant it, just as you would have meant it. So, we're with good guys, but when we're with good guys, you can be vulnerable, you can be honest, you can be real, you can share, you can co-generate healing together, which is such, and I'm going to do some more work on this, but it is so important to know. And this is the perfect thing. He says, when you're triggered, you will go and you will fix your trigger. You don't go, well, I'm triggered.
Fix it for me.
You don't go, I'm triggered and it's because of you and you need to fix it. If we ever play that game, we're in wrong town. Big, big codependent wrong town. And you are exactly in the position to co-generate mutual healing with a partner. And you know what? There's some of the most special relationships. I have that relationship with my partner, vice versa, both ways, as I know you do with yours. So how special that we can share that and inspire other people. But you have got to take 100% personal responsibility for your triggers to be able to have somebody who will care for you and partner you as much as you care for and self-partner yourself. That is key. Nothing
Absolutely.
Works without that.
Yeah, he never tries to heal it for me, and never even pretends to try.
And that can be tricky for men, because they can want to, and this is the guys that have been with narcissistic women that are watching this, guys can jump in and try and fix it all for her.
Yeah.
And sometimes you guys were trying to fix it all for your mum and you couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And really the best way you can ever fix it for a woman is to say, honey, I hear you, but you need to go deal with that. And I will stand back and give you the space and I'll support you, but I'm going to support you to support yourself.
Right.
That's
exactly.
true love. That's true love. That's not codependent, martyrdom, narcissist, codependent marriage. Yeah.
And he, every once in a while, when the wounded inner child rises, and it happens less and less, but, there's been a couple times where, I wanted him to be mad because I was mad, and he's kind of like, what are you doing? And,
wow.
And so it makes me check myself and say, okay, I'm acting immature. Here's what I'm feeling. And, he doesn't react the way, the narcissist in my past would. It would end up being a knockdown, drag out fight, and he instead is like, okay, what's going on? And he's he's really good at identifying that. And I don't even know if he consciously identifies it. I think he's just that self-partnered that he's able to see something's off. This isn't her normal way to be. And so there's no
and
fight
he trusts
that's
you and he loves you. And he's like, well, this isn't actually Blair. This is, you know, something else going on. Which would do no good if you were a narc or a horrible person, you know, because there are beautiful hearted men that do that with women. And, you know, if that woman is not taking personal responsibility for her wounds and her growth and her healing, well, you can do that till the cows come home and nothing is going to change ever. Yeah, I'm so happy for the two of you, and I'm so excited and I'm so excited for no pressure at all, Blair, but Blair has said she's going to be writing Thriver vows for her marriage.
Yes. I'm kind of playing with one in particular that I just got to figure out the right words, but I want to say something like, I promise to always take care of myself so that we can have a good relationship. But I can't quite figure out that last little piece. But those are the things that I'm trying to play with, you know, like, and I think part of me is really excited to be able to say this in front of people who don't know what NARP is, and they'll be like, promise to take care of myself first, and, you know, so kind of like wake up the world a little bit, or at least the people that come to my wedding.
How gorgeous. And you know what, maybe one day there might be like a book on, you know, evolved healthy vows, you know, that can
instead of, you know, the boring to have and to hold. And it's tradition. I'm not saying it's boring. There's lots of people that do it, but I just want something more, and I want something more meaningful, and, you know, something that, you know, is an actual promise, not just words you're saying because we've been saying it for centuries.
Oh, so good. And why not evolve and update things? Why not? You know, we're in rapidly changing, evolving, revolutionary times. Why not evolve it? I think it's gorgeous that you're going to do that. So, you know, when they're done, and after we've watched our beautiful video of you running in tutus, and
it's going to be so cool. I'm actually more excited about the run than the wedding.
And we'll go, my gosh, they're so fit, those two. My goodness.
Let me, a disclaimer, I am not fit. I just run.
Well, I don't know how those two things don't like match, but anyway.
Because I run very slowly. Okay. He runs really fast. He runs like 7.5 minute miles, and I run like 11, 10, 30 minute miles. So he's a good 5 minutes per mile faster than I am.
Whoa. I just think the fact that you can do 3-5 miles in a row is ridiculous. I can't even, I feel fit, but no, I'm not that fit. No way. That's good for you. Oh, Blair, look, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I've just had a blast talking to you. I love this topic. Thank you,
I'm really excited. Thank you for having me. It's definitely a very honor for somebody, you know, for somebody that I constantly say, Melanie says, to be able to talk to you in person is awesome. So I thank you for everything that you do for all of us, and, you know, just gathering it together for, you know, having this all in this platform and this way for us to be able to really focus on it. And the videos, those weekly videos definitely helped a lot, you know, as well as the NARC program. So, you know, thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you, Blair. Well, it's not light work. I love what I do. I feel so blessed. And I feel so blessed to meet people like you and have the connection that we do, because we're all in this together. You know, This was my life. This has been my life, you know, moving forward and healing. And I feel like we're all sisters and brothers in this together. And it's so beautiful that we can share in this way.
Absolutely. We're not alone.
Oh, we're not. Oh, please, people out there, you're going, oh my God, I want what they've got. You know, please know you're not alone. And please know, you know, your time of hiatus and doing what you need to do to sort out those deep core beliefs. It is so worth it. Oh my God, it's worth it. Because you know, there's a beautiful life waiting for you when you do.
And it doesn't have to take forever. That was something that really resonated. You know, you feel like to heal, you have to, you know, put in so much work and it'll take years, but it didn't, you know, we're still growing and I'm still learning, but it happens a lot faster once you really do the work.
Yeah. And when you have quantum tools, it changes everything, and the acceleration
Exactly.
and the power of it. You know, it works where often nothing else kind of really has. So,
Yeah.
yay. All right, Blair, thank you, my love, for coming on. And please, well, we're going to be releasing this, which is so exciting, for Valentine's Day. What are you guys doing for Valentine's Day?
So he has joint custody of his daughter. So he's going to take his daughter, and Friday is his night with his daughter, for her to spend the night. So I encouraged him to take her out for a Valentine's dinner.
Oh,
so we're not doing anything
so
this year.
Beautiful. You are so, and I'm sure, you know, you're probably having Valentine's Day often anyway.
Yeah. And, you know, it's one Valentine's Day, and then it'll make a difference. She's, you know, 15 that time, you know, it'll be special to her to get dressed up and go to Valentine's Day with your dad. And we're getting married in 6 months. So I want to make sure she knows that their relationship is still strong. So I feel like it'll be a good day for them. You
are such a beautiful woman, wife to be, and stepmother. You really are. That's so gracious of you. And July the 4th is...
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry. And I was saying goodbye way too prematurely. I'm about to. I don't want to leave you. This is too good. So anniversaries on that date. What's the deal with January the 4th?
So that was the day we met, and then the day he proposed. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
beautiful.
You know, and then of course it's Independence Day in America. So, you know, I feel like it's the perfect day to have, you know, a celebration, and he'll never forget our anniversary. So
good point, because men can,
and there's always
going
to be fireworks on my anniversary.
We could go all sorts of places with that, but yeah, that's beautiful. That's so good. I love that. Yeah, gorgeous. All right. Okay, Blair, this time I am saying goodbye. Thank you, sweetheart. And and it'll be lovely to keep in touch and keep progress with what's happened. And so exciting. We love Thriver weddings. We love them. We've had a couple now. There's another. This is beautiful. All right, darling.
Oh, that's
Take
awesome.
care.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lots of love.